Welcome, everyone, to another edition of Stepping Up to the Plate. I'm your host, Michael Vega. So glad you could join us. So much to discuss here with the Celtics sadly being eliminated from the playoffs in the NBA. Now the NBA and NHL conference finals in full swing, and the Red Sox gaining some momentum here against the New York Mets. And so much to discuss here with my main man, Al Prizzuti. Al, welcome back, and thanks for being here with me. And, so much to discuss right off the top. Let's discuss the Celtics and their demise in the Eastern Conference semifinals against the New York Knicks. Knicks taking the series, 4 games to 1, right? And unbelievable, Al, or 4-2, I should say, because you go back to New York in Game 6, a daunting task without Jason Tatum, who ruptures his Achilles tendon in Game 4. And, it was just a devastating blowout. And I immediately recognized the type of injury that he had, having been accustomed to seeing them. And was sitting there watching the game with my wife. I may have said this to you before, but I turned to it and I said, oh, my God, this is devastating. I said, in more ways than you don't know, because, as he was being carted off, you could see he was being applauded by the Knicks, Warrior going out on a shield. But there was a move that had seismic effect on the Celtics because of the fact that was, with his departure and his protracted recovery, it meant that team was no longer going to be together. And that was the last time he would likely play with a lot of guys on that team. And, it's a shame. It's a real shame.
The only reason we don't know that is there'll be some moves because of the money.
The money, of course, Al. Yeah.
But
and that was something they were facing already.
The only reason that when I saw the injury, I knew because it was a non-contact injury that it was probably an Achilles or something. Because he didn't get hit.
No.
It actually, and I've had a torn Achilles, and it feels like a shade.
The lampshade going up, yeah.
And you could tell. But you know what? I think the Celtics are going to make a move. They're looking at that kid from Maine and Duke.
Wow, Al, you know what that would require?
Well,
that would require, a blockbuster deal. And possibly costing you a frontline starter.
It'll cost them, and I think.
Well, okay, you're Brad Stevens. Who are you willing to part with, Al?
If I had to give up a real star, I'd give up Jaylen Brown.
Wow, Al, this is unbelievable because you know what? I had the exact same thought. Yeah. I said, if you're going to go for a kid like that, right? And here's the other thing you think about, Al. You give Jaylen Brown to the Mavericks. The Mavericks would definitely take Jaylen Brown. And maybe another piece.
Well, they'd probably want Drew Holiday.
So you give him Drew Holiday and Jaylen Brown.
Well, the only reason Drew Holiday is a little older and he's coming, he's got a big contract.
So you shed a Supermax contract and his contract.
Right, and his contract.
And there you go. And now you get the number 1 pick. You get Cooper Flagg. And now you're building, and if you tank, that's okay, because if you get the number 1 pick again, you get A.J. Dybantsta, the kid from Brockton, who was like one of the top prospects, the number 1 prospect. So if you can build around those guys, and you got, and then put them together, when Tatum comes back, I think now you got something.
I think because Stevens no dumbbell, I think what they'll do here is, they'll watch and monitor the progress of Jason Tatum's injury. And they'll say, you know what? He's not going to be back probably until December, January of the next season, which is half the year.
He's going to be on the whole year.
He might be out the whole year.
The whole year, yeah.
So if they look and say, he might not, though, because some people come back quicker. But basketball is a different type of game. So they're going to look at this and they're going to say, you know what, we're not going to be the team that goes to the championship next year. Right. So let's build for 2027, I guess it would be.
So
that way, then they'll say, Holiday's going to be older. He's been mentioned even before the injury, which is crazy for me because I think he's a great player. But his salary's up there, and it's a multi-year salary. And then you got Jaylen Brown, who I think he's a complementary piece to that team.
Oh.
Meaning Jason Tatum and the complement of Jaylen Brown is like Babe Ruth and Lou Gehrig, kind of. I'm using an analogy there. But he's not a guy that you can say, jump on my back and I'm going to take you to the championship. Jason Tatum
is that guy.
So I think if they did Jaylen Brown and Drew Holiday, I don't think they'd want to get rid of White.
Or Peyton Pritchard?
No, I don't think so.
We need to keep Peyton Pritchard.
Pritchard does things that nobody else in that team does.
Here's another guy you got to keep, Luke Cornett.
Well, Cornett, I mean, in the game 5, I think
he saved his team.
Well, he was the best player on the court that
God.
night. And then, no, I think Hauser could go. You hate to say it, but he's a shooter.
Porzingis is not going to be here anymore. I don't think.
Porzingis to me is another one that, because he's so fragile,
Yeah.
that if they could get 2 big guys up front and Cornett, they could do fine.
Yeah. Well, they have a kid, Neemias Keita.
Yeah, I saw him. Yeah.
And he's serviceable. But Al, the shooter drop that everyone's waiting for is what is Giannis Antetokounmpo going to do?
He wants out, that's for sure.
And if he wants out, it puts him in play. And it's going to cause all the domino effect of that move could very well yield something for the Celtics that none of us are contemplating right now. Mm-hmm. I mean, who amongst us would have foreseen that Drew Holiday would have been available at the time that the Bucks were loading up with Damian Lillard?
Yeah, but you see, going back to management, and like Red Auerbach, always
thinking ahead.
Well, he was always thinking of somebody who knew how to play with the team, not a person who's I'm the guy, everybody else follows me.
Right.
So he'll look at, say, what type of a kid can he fit our style? And even though he might be a great player, he might not be able to fit. Will Chamberlain was a great example of that with the Celtics. With Red Auerbach, he would have said, you're not going to score 50 points a game.
Wow.
You're part of a team. You'll do rebounding. You'll do assists.
But think of the way that dynamic changes the Celtics if you have a Giannis, Tatum, and I mean, do you really need a Cooper Flag at that point, or what if you swing for the fences, and you do get Cooper Flag by trading away Jaylen, but now you have a max contract spot there. And there's Giannis available, and he could carry you. He could be that bridge to the title with Tatum, or he could lead you to that too.
I'm not so. Again, I think what they do is they sit there and they're looking at everything. Is this guy going to play? How's he going to play with Tatum? How is he going to play with this one? And if it's a fit, they'll do it. If it's not, for whatever reason that we don't see, they won't do it. I mean, and it goes back to me, team wins, and the Celtics had the best team.
Yeah.
You lose a key component of the team like they did.
What if he winds up in Miami, Giannis?
Well, he's going to make anybody better.
Well, think about what they needed in Miami.
Yeah, I know.
That he fits their bill. So it's going to be a high stakes, game to acquire him, but the Celtics have probably, and I wouldn't doubt that Brad Stevens already has the machinations in work about, okay, what would it take? What could we offer? Who do we have to clear off the decks in order to create a safe landing for him here?
They've already said he's a Celtic, he's not going anywhere. He's a Celtic, he's not going anywhere, like White, like that. And then these are guys that if a deal comes up and it's right, including Porzingis, including Peyton Pritchard, and all of these guys are depending on the deal. These guys know I'm not getting rid of these guys. And, I wouldn't get rid of Peyton Pritchard for one reason. He does things that a guard his size can't do.
Hustle plays,
He can rebound.
rebound,
He can shoot. He can shoot
he
threes.
can handle the ball.
He moves all
He
the
gets
time.
to the rim.
Yeah.
He gets his offense.
He's a tough guy to cover.
Oh, he's a tough guy. He's a tough guy to get rid of, Al.
Yeah, well, that's what
You know,
I'm
even
saying.
when he was demanding a trade, the Celtics saw what they had in him, and they said, "No, be patient with us.
But see,
We're going to get you a
teams-
minute."
You want
know.
to call the predator teams, the teams that are predators that look and say, Pritchard is the type of guy we want,
Right.
and we might be able to get him for shy money because he's not a superstar.
Well,
But
they
he
gave him some
could
nice
be.
money already.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is that's what
it's not a max contract.
GMs look
Yeah,
at.
yeah.
They don't look and say, well, we'll get Jaylen Brown. How the hell are we going to pay for him? Because now we got this payroll and we add this, and now we're in trouble. We have to get rid of. We have to shed some of these guys.
Yeah.
But yeah, you know what? I think the Celtics are doing a lot of maneuvering, and Stevens is no dumbbell.
No.
So I'm
And
not
like I said,
worried-
I give him
I'm
all
not
the credit in the
worried
world
about
for bringing Drew Holiday aboard because that changed the dynamic of the East. All of a sudden, and I distinctly recall when they announced that deal, I'm like, oh, we're in the ball game now. We're not behind the Bucks. We're
Yeah,
ahead
well,
of them now.
They needed him because he was a one-up on your guy, the guy that you love.
Marcus Smart,
He was a one-up on him.
the Hall of Famer.
He's a better shooter. He's a better defensive player, and he hustles.
Yeah.
So he's kind of
Yeah,
like
he
that,
does
but
it
a
all.
little
He can
one-up.
shoot. Yeah, I mean, when he cranks up a three, you're not sitting there hoping it goes in. You know
Yeah,
it can go in.
yeah,
So,
so-
but yeah, so a lot there. And the final four combatants with the East beginning tonight between the Pacers and the Knicks. Al, who do you like in that series?
Paces.
Pacers. I think I'm going to go with Pacers. I think
Yeah.
Knicks are a bit beat up.
Knicks were lucky that the Celtics
They
were.
they fell on
wouldn't
their
have
face in
got
the
through.
first two games.
Celtics were a better team, but
Interesting battle going on right now in the West between the top-seeded Oklahoma City Thunder
yeah, they're going to be.
and the Minnesota Timberwolves.
It'll be Oklahoma against the Pacers.
Pacers.
Yeah, and then Oklahoma. I said earlier that I thought Oklahoma would win it. Even if the Celtics stayed strong, that would have been a great matchup. But
I'll tell you what,
You don't know.
Oklahoma versus Indiana in the NBA Finals, that's going to be some tremendous basketball.
yeah, you know
That'll
what?
be some tremendous basketball.
Sports is about the only thing where you can say you got to play.
Yeah.
You can talk about it all you want. Something happens or different things, matchups, and it changes the dynamic.
Yeah.
And that's what you're going to get in all sports.
Yeah.
Look at now, if we wanted to seg to the Red Sox, the
Yes.
Red Sox are a 500 baseball team right now. I mean, they lose.
50 games in, they're 500.
They're a 500 team because, this is interesting because in the Mets series, with Mets were playing pretty good baseball. They were in first place. They are in second place now, but they come in as a hitting team and they don't hit.
And their 700 million guy can't even run out a ground, doesn't hustle out.
He's
the ball.
hitting two.
Meanwhile, you've got Jared Duran turning ground balls into triples.
Jared Duran is when he's playing.
Is he an all-star?
He is because
Yes.
he does everything. And when he's on, and when he moves from first to third, is like he's the fastest.
I think
team,
the Red Sox could have Alex Bregman, Jaron Duran, and one other guy,
well,
Devers.
Devers is hitting
as
up a
all-stars.
storm now. I mean, when you think about, he was 0 for 21 with 15 strikeouts. Everybody wanted to kill the kid, including me. I thought he was a little overweight or whatever, but he didn't want to play third. He wanted to play third. He didn't want to be a DH. He doesn't want to play first. But he hit a 98-mile-an-hour fastball the other night out of the ballpark to win the game.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a ball player. Now, he's
First
also,
career walk-off homer for
he's
him.
also, if you wanted to use the Celtic analogy, somebody that people want that the Red Sox can do without because they've got they're pretty good down in the minors. I mean, they've got Anthony, they got Marcelo
Well, that's the thing.
Maya.
I mean, they're creating a problem that shouldn't necessarily be one right now. I mean, obviously, the injury to Tristan Casas kind of exposed their lack of depth at first base, but they're backfilling with pieces.
I mean,
You know,
the guys that
Romy
are playing there are
Gonzalez,
doing
and
Philly.
then they got
Sogard's playing first.
They got
Gonzalez.
Sogard's done a hell of a job.
Well, the
done a
catcher,
hell of a job playing first.
catcher's been the best buy that
Yeah.
they've made. I mean, other
Yeah.
than Aroldis Chapman, I said it at the start of the season, Aroldis Chapman's your closer. And that's what's turned out. The sixth, seventh, and eighth guys got to get to the ninth so that Aroldis Chapman can come in and mow guys down. They can't hit him when he's on.
Yeah.
If he doesn't walk two guys and then the guy singles, or he comes in with a runner on second base, I'm not sure that's where I'd use him. But if he's coming in with a clean slate in the ninth,
Yeah.
he's 1, 2, 3. If he doesn't, I mean, he might walk a guy, but their
So,
bullpen has been
but
suspect.
bullpen was been spectacular in the first two games against the Mets.
Yeah.
The first game was unbelievable, but then they had to rely upon them when Alex Rodriguez was ejected after his pitcher Walker Buehler got ejected for arguing with the home plate umpire. An egregious mistake, Al. Let me just put it that way. An egregious mistake on an obvious strike call that he ruled as a ball.
But forget the fact that he made a mistake because it was down the middle.
Correct.
It was a perfect pitch. The fact that the way he came out and
Challenged
challenged
him.
Buehler was wrong. So that as soon as he walked in front of the catcher and started to come out, because Buehler had come off the mound, I knew he was going to get thrown out.
Yeah.
And that's stupid because the umpire should have just turned around and went back behind the plate and play ball. Instead, he wanted to challenge it because he knew he screwed up. He knew he made a mistake.
Correct.
And then he was trying to
Covering his own.
cover it.
Yeah,
And
he's
then
covering
Cora
himself.
came out and got thrown out. Now, Cora hasn't been in 2 games, so he better be careful. His daughter got. He went to the
Ramon Vasquez
graduation.
now. Do you think he's going to get Willie pipped here?
He could get, But anyways.
Or Wally Pip?
If you look at the Red Sox, I mean, Abreu has been the hot and cold guy. I mean,
Yeah.
he's a ball player, though. He can hit. He's a good outfielder. He's got a good arm. Their outfield is stable.
Yes.
I
Don't
mean,
break that up.
Every game you watch, and it's the same thing. You got Duran, you got Rafael,
Rafael.
and you got Abreu. That's it. Then Bregman's going to be at third. The kid that I think they might have moved him too quickly is Campbell.
Yeah.
Because
I think he's inside his head right now.
you come up, nobody knows what you can do, and you hit 300, 320, 330, have a couple of home runs, and play decent at second base. And all of a sudden, he was Babe Ruth's,
And then
follow
they signed him to an extension.
and they signed him to a huge
Yeah.
contract for a
80
kid
mil.
that they didn't
80
even know
mil.
if he could play overtime. It's when you go through the league a couple of times and they get used to you and you continue to hit, do you know you got a kid that's a ball player. So I think they overestimated, first of all, they overestimated the timeline
Yeah.
on this kid.
Yeah.
Okay? I think Story's the guy that they're going to get rid of shortly.
I think they might and make room for Marcelo Mayer there.
Yeah, so they'll either bring up Mayer and then Roman Anthony.
Roman Anthony could play first.
No, they'll trade Cedeno with Rafael, I think.
Oh, no. Wow.
Yeah, well, Anthony's probably a better hitter than Rafael. Rafael's a better
But could he make
fielder.
plays like the one that Rafaela made in Detroit?
No.
Where, he's sitting there and Willie or Abreu misses the ball and then it lands in
that was
Rafaela's
luck.
mitt.
But he was
Oh,
there.
yeah, but he
was there. He was backing up
there,
the
Al.
kid.
That's the point.
No, I understand that, but I mean, it's like Jackie Bradley was a great center fielder but couldn't hit.
Right.
I think Cedeno Rafael is a great fielder, probably as good as Jackie Bradley. A little better hitter.
He's got a little
but-
more pop in his
Yeah,
bat.
a little better
He got
hitter.
more pop in his bat. He had a towering out last night that probably would have gone out were it not for the swirling winds.
Well, look
but-
at Navarez has been the big steal from the Yankees no
Yeah,
less.
yeah.
He's hitting 273. He's hit 5 or 6 home runs, and he's a good bat catcher. So I think Connor Wong's in trouble
Yeah.
as being the.
Well, you still need a guy like that.
No, I think he'll be the guy now. He's not going to play 125 games.
Not likely.
It comes down to 80 and 80, maybe. I don't know. But
So, like I say, why have the Sox kind of tied themselves up in knots over the issue with trying to make Devers a first baseman?
yeah,
They really should not have bothered with him. You've already asked him to make one move. And I think Devers is right. Hey, it's on you guys to fill your depth positions. You know, are you going to make me move to another out? And people think, well, that's selfish. You're a 300. Yeah, but they paid him to play third base.
Well, the only
and to
thing
hit.
I'd give
And now they
Devers-
said, okay, we just want you to hit, and he's doing that.
Yeah, but I think the thing with Devers that people got to be cognizant of is he uses an interpreter. He speaks a little English.
He understands.
But
He
he
gets his
understands
points.
it. He needs the interpreter because his words can get misconstrued by people
Well, you know, Al,
easily.
I listen to those, you know, translations because I do speak Spanish, and there's nothing, not a word lost in translation.
No.
There's not one word lost in translation.
Well,
And he got his point across clearly.
oh
I
yeah.
think
Well,
he did.
I mean, the other thing is, you know, it's not like
And he understands what the translator is saying to the media in English.
oh yeah, oh yeah.
So
know,
I
know.
think that anytime, and there's not been one time where he has said something and the translator has, you know, censored it or edited it some way, somehow. No.
But here's the issue in there, because I do a little of this translation stuff. Speaking in, I'll give you an example. Speaking in Italian, I say things sometimes that an Italian would look and go,
Yeah, yeah.
all right, because even though I think I'm translating it correctly, or maybe it's not the right word.
Right.
And sometimes that changes the inflection or the tone.
Allora.
Allora, which is everybody
Allora.
says that. I mean, nobody even knows what it means.
Yeah,
But
but it's like a
anyways.
universal catchphrase there. It's like, but
So now it's slipping over to the NHL.
the
in
Bruins with
time.
making big news with Sweeney
You know,
being extended by 2 years.
I'm not so sure I would give him a year's contract.
Well, you
I'm
know,
not sure too.
the way Cam Neely
They'll fire
explained
him
it.
if they need to anyway.
Well, but Cam Neely explained it. He's got a lot of big decisions to make, and you can't make those decisions when you have kind of the sword of Damocles hanging over your head, and you're trying to convince a coach to come work for you when you know that, you know, the coach knows that, hey, you may not even be here.
Yeah, but you know,
know.
I look at what the Bruins have, okay, and they were miserable last season, okay,
Yeah.
but they didn't have Hampus Lindholm for almost the whole year.
Here.
They didn't have
Elias
McAvoy
Lindholm
toward
for
the
the whole
end.
year. Yeah.
They had Elias Lindholm, who didn't play well until he got onto a line with Pasternak, and then he started scoring at the end. He's got 7 goals in whatever
In the Worlds?
the
Yeah.
Worlds going on. You've got the big kid, what's his name, Zadorov.
Yeah.
I mean, he started out poorly, played a little better toward the end. Those pieces come together. They've got the kid they got from Toronto, who's a player. They got Patras, who played
Yeah.
better down in the minors. They've got a chance to, and they got the 7th pick. Okay.
Not only that, they'll have more than that. More
Well,
than-
I'm just saying they got the 7th pick, which is as low as they've been in a long time.
yeah.
They got a chance to get back into the playoffs relatively quickly. This isn't a team. Now, you got Marchand that might come back. He'd never come back for a 2 or 3 year contract.
No.
That's why they let him go.
Yeah.
He wanted an extended contract. But I watch him. I've been watching this Panther Maple Leaf series, and now
The
they beat
Hurricanes.
the Hurricanes last night pretty easily.
Yeah.
They're up 3-zip. Marchand has been the star for this team. He was all over the place last night. Bobrovsky got hit. He went after him at the end. He got into a fight. They love him down there.
He
But
may
now-
not be back, Al.
Well, the question is, when he was left as a Bruin. Right now, I think he feels like a Panther.
Yeah. Oh, no doubt.
And that, well,
He's assimilated into that
but
room.
he's always been a player like that. I
Yeah.
mean, he's a likable guy. And he's on your team, you love him.
You love him because you know what? He goes to the mat for you, you know, and he will defend you and he will play hard.
Well, the
and
interesting-
there's no questioning his work ethic.
I want to
You know.
watch the Dallas Oilers series because I
Oh.
think it's going to be the Oilers against the Panthers, and I think this year the Oilers could beat the Panthers
In a rematch.
in a rematch.
Wow. That'd be
But
huge.
because if the Panthers win again, a lot of those guys are going to say, "I've done it. I've won 2 cups. See you later."
Yeah.
I don't know about Marchand because he's only won 1 with the Bruins, but it'd be interesting to see. It's fun to watch.
Yeah.
Playoff hockey is a different animal than regular season.
Yeah.
They hit harder, they skate intense for the whole 60 minutes or 80, whatever,
Yeah.
how long it goes.
Yeah.
But it's exciting.
It is, and you can't beat it, Al. The intensity, I mean, look at the way Dallas is energized now with the Stars being in the playoffs. You look at the fandom there in Winnipeg, of course in Carolina, and I'll tell you what, in Indianapolis, Al, there's no greater time right now than to be in Indianapolis, where this weekend you're going to have the NBA playoffs going on and the Indy 500 out in the same weekend. I've been there, Al. I've done it where I've covered both on the same weekend. It's unbelievable. Yeah. It's unbelievable. And like I said, there's no better place to be than Indianapolis on Memorial Day weekend, especially when you're there. I miss it so much going there to the Indy 500. Have you ever been, Al?
No.
How about
No,
the
no.
Kentucky Derby?
I've been.
Yeah, you got to get to the 500. You got to get to the 500.
Well, the only thing, I probably had too many mint juleps when I went to Kentucky Derby. I don't even know who won.
Hey,
it.
how about the Preakness, Al? The Preakness with
I'll tell you
journalism. Journalism is alive and well, ladies and
Journalism
gentlemen.
came out of
Nowhere.
I mean,
And
then,
jostled, and I thought all three of them are going to go down.
wow.
I thought we were going to have a wipeout, like you
But
don't
even
see.
when he came in on the turn, he was still far behind. But he came he went by that lead horse.
Did you see? He put the whip to that horse, and that horse. I mean, giddy up, man. That took off. But one of the great. I mean, I hadn't seen a race like that almost ever in the Triple Crown.
Yeah.
That hotly contested.
It clearly isn't a nice feeling, though, to be holding a lot of money tickets on the horse that
was way ahead. Oh my God, Al! Do you think they would have pulled their hair out?
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Well, we got the Belmont still, right? And we got
Yeah.
the Derby
So the
and
Derby
Preakness.
winner and the Preakness winner are going to be in that one.
Are they both?
I think they are. I
Yeah,
think-
that'd be fun to watch.
Yeah.
To see. I think track and lengths are so important.
yeah.
Well,
Well, you remember now, this year the Belmont's going to be held in Saratoga.
is it?
It is, because they're rebuilding the
okay.
track in Elmont, New York, because it's part of that whole new sports complex that's going up where the new Islanders building is up, and they're putting up the new track there too.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So yeah, that's going to be unbelievable. It'll be at Saratoga, which is an August place to be.
And
if you've
then
never been.
in the short time, Scotty Scheffler.
Yes.
Geez, you know what?
Do you like him at the U.S. Open?
I like him every time he plays. But he doesn't.
He's a
have,
Longhorn baby. Longhorn.
He's actually a Jersey boy, so.
No. He's a Longhorn. Hey, Malocchio.
He can play. I'm telling you. I mean, you see what type of a guy he is too. He wins. He grabs his son. He goes up. He
Great
brought
guy.
the son in when he was signing the.
Isn't that great? I love it.
Anyways,
Well, Al, I want to wish you a happy Memorial Day weekend, and I want to wish my mother a happy birthday, Olga Vega. Thank you, Mom. You're the best. And we look forward to seeing you here next time on Steppin' Up to the Plate. Take care, everyone.